Want to make your truck cool without completely destroying it? Well, it's harder than you may think. Between the high-priced parts, endless hours spent in the garage, and mods that look great on social media but fail in reality, the struggle is real. In this video, we're cutting through the noise to help guide you through the road to success with a truck that will actually work and turn heads. What's up everyone, Kevin here, and if you're anything like me, you're always thinking about the next upgrade to your hauler. Over my years in the scene, I've learned a few hard lessons that not all mods are created equal. Today I'm breaking down a few things I've discovered from my own experiences and others that have come to me from trusted authorities. So let's make sure your truck gets nothing but the best custom additions. Alright, kicking things off with number one is the ultimate cardinal sin for lower trucks. And this would be cutting or even heating factory coil springs to knock out some height from your ride. And look, I get it. You may be on a budget and want a drop look, so you and your buddies think, hey, let's take a cutoff wheel to the springs, or blast them with a torch until the truck gravitates closer to the ground. But actually, this is a total disaster. The fact is, these rigs are complex machines, and there is actual science behind why this ruins the way your truck operates. Coil springs are engineered with massive tension and treated with precise formulation to handle the heavy weight of a truck. When you heat them up to change their shape or form, you actually change the molecular structure of the metal, which can make them brittle, soft, and prone to snapping on the road. And as far as cutting them goes, this act will change the spring rate completely, making them ride incredibly bouncy or harsh. Many times springs will have a specific shape, and if you cut the end off, the spring will act in a totally different manner. Even though it may be tempting to lop off a section, buying a set of quality springs or drop spindles will make a world of difference. So don't hack up your suspension just to save a buck. Next up, and on a related note, is air ride. Now don't get me wrong here, this mod can make your truck a killer at shows and local meets. And to be honest, seeing a truck that was meant to haul big loads kiss the pavement when you park it is about as cool as it gets. But this is something you have to be fully invested into, and if you add it to a daily driven truck, it can be simply impractical and make your life a living hell. And trust me, I've been there. And here's the thing about air ride. When you look at everything that must go into a proper setup, you'll easily realize that these systems are incredibly complicated. You won't be simply swapping springs for airbags. Instead, you'll need to completely re-engineer your suspension in order to install them. Then you have the web of airlines, mounting of tanks, wiring for compressors, and the setup of valves or a manifold, along with whatever controller or management device you choose. This means there's a plethora of components and connections that can cause any number of issues. For example, if a line gets pinched or melted, or perhaps your compressor burns out on your way to work, you can easily be stranded. To me, that can be an embarrassing call to make, as a mod you did to make your truck look cool ultimately failed and became a hindrance. Now, I don't live in a region that gets freezing cold in the winter, but I have heard that systems can fail in the cold. Also, it is highly recommended to drain the air out every day to prevent corrosion to the system. And all I have to say to this is, ain't nobody got time for that. Now the truth of the matter is that air ride is an advanced mod that requires expert or even high dollar installation, along with constant maintenance to keep you safe. Though it can be perfect for dedicated show trucks that don't get on the road much or ride in trailers, bagging a truck is completely unnecessary and can be unreliable for a vehicle that's used every day. If you want to go super low and have a smooth ride, I suggest going with a quality coilover setup. You can also learn more about air ride from a previous video I did by clicking a link in the description below. Moving on to my next mod I don't recommend is modifying a V6 engine. Sorry to any of you that may get offended by this, and I do understand if some of you might have purchased a truck with a V6 engine because it was cheaper up front, or because it might slightly get better gas mileage, which is a thing we could all desperately take advantage of these days. And yes, these engines can be dependable for everyday use, but they lack a cool factor for trucks. So when you go down the custom truck rabbit hole, you'll most likely want more power, a louder exhaust, and pure muscle truck performance that matches the aggressive aesthetics of the exterior styling. So if you start looking up modified intakes, exhausts, or even superchargers, you'll quickly find out that they will have less impact, and in the long run, you'll probably realize you should have opted for the bigger engine to start with. I say save your cash, as the aftermarket world is biased and V8s are king in the performance segment. Because the vast majority of enthusiasts build up V8s, the parts market for V6 trucks is incredibly small. That means finding high quality performance parts is harder, and because companies manufacture them in smaller quantities, those V6 parts actually end up costing you more dollars per horsepower than they would on a V8. In essence, you could end up spending thousands more. Meanwhile, a truck with a stock V8 could end up gapping you at a light, all while sounding better doing it. In my opinion, if you really want a high-performance truck, stop dumping money into a platform that wasn't built for it. Instead, for a far better and more cost-effective alternative, save that mod money and put it toward swapping in a V8. For those of us in California, this is near impossible, so trading up to a V8 model might be the best option here. Either way, you'll get instant power, a massive aftermarket support system, and a truck that will actually hold better value. On the subject of performance, I've heard of a part called an electric supercharger, which sounds like a total scam. I've seen jokes about these online, and I can see how people could get fooled into thinking a cheap part could actually boost power. It sounds enticing, but in actuality, it's just a little fan that can't actually do much, if anything at all. Let's talk about why these don't work. True force induction systems like a real supercharger or turbo takes an immense amount of energy to compress and seriously push air down into your engine's intake. Does anyone really think that a tiny plastic fan running off your truck's 12-volt electric cigarette lighter wiring is actually going to force enough air into a massive V8 engine to make power? From my research, there are fans used by luxury manufacturers, but they are for turbo lag. I've never seen one of these in real life on any of the big name customs I've run across, so I say leave these to the memes. Next up, let's talk about wheel fitment, specifically running wheels that are way too big or way too wide for your truck. Look, for decades now, custom builders have been pushing the limits, stuffing massive wheels under bag rigs and modifying chassis to fit what I call steamroller wheels. Now, I do think it's pretty innovative to fit these underneath a truck, but I think there is a hard limit when a cool look turns into a total driving nightmare. To get the record straight here, I think there is a clear threshold on wheel diameter. If you're lowering a truck with a static drop or with coilovers or even air ride, 22-inch wheels are pretty much a sweet spot. Though they may seem like a small wheel in comparison to other wheels on the market, they can fill up the wheel wells of a hauler very well without making your truck look funny when it's rolling around. Once you start pushing it with 24s, 26s, or beyond, you are signing up for trouble. Now that we've discussed the diameter, let's move on to width and offset. Back in the day, wheel options were super limited. Before these offerings and the extreme fabrication of today, if you wanted a deep lip, your wheels would either stick out past the body, or you would add fender flares or even stretch body panels out to cover them. Personally, I don't like the skateboard look where wheels stick out or body panels look misshaped. Fortunately, times have changed as there are more sizing options. And if that isn't enough, billet wheels can be built to the exact specifications of backspacing for your project's needs. Yes, custom billet wheels are pricey, but they will allow you to tuck a massive wheel perfectly inside the confines of the factory body lines without looking out of place or hindering your truck's turning radius. With that being said, save up for the right fitting wheels, keep the size reasonable, and don't force a wheel onto your truck that will look completely out of place. Finishing things off literally here, we must talk about the ultimate killer of a clean build, overdoing it with chrome parts. We've probably all seen it before, trucks that look like they drove down the accessory aisle of the local auto parts store while having a magnet attached to them. Chrome door guards, various trim pieces, and worse yet, stick-on faux vents. Here's the hard truth about chrome. Good show quality chrome that won't pit, peel, or rust after one winter will set you back a pretty penny. If you're buying cheap plastic chrome accessories to try and make your truck look high-end, you're doing the exact opposite as it makes a truck look cheap. Now, don't get me wrong, tasteful factory options like chrome bumpers or subtle OEM details can look great on the right build. But there is a fine line between classic and overdone. And if you like to get rid of the chrome and don't want to color match everything, which I agree with, as this too can be gaudy, I have an alternative. You can try rubbing an abrasive material to kind of pull off a brushed look. Though I will say the best way is to have pieces nickel plated, which is a similar but different process to chroming. When brushed, it gives a warm and rugged industrial high-end look that stands out at a show without screaming for attention. I have always liked this look as I think it gives off a tougher appearance, but hey, that's just my opinion. At the end of the day, building a custom truck is all about making it yours. And my best advice is to make sure you are spending your hard-earned money on mods that will actually elevate your ride and not ruin it. Instead of cutting corners to fast-track your way across the finish line, take your time to execute the perfect head-turning hauler. Then again, be mindful of how long it takes you to perform all your mods. It's also a bummer to let a project sit while you watch others enjoy their trucks. So it all comes down to finding the right balance And with that being said, I wish all of you the best of luck on creating the truck of your dreams. Honestly, this was just a few bad mods I was able to list here. And if I missed any others, or you disagree with me, let me know in the comments section down below. And if this video saved you from making a costly mistake, make sure to smash that like button too. Well, that just about does it for this video, and we thank you for watching it. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a future video, and we will catch you next time.